Welcome to Future Focused, Priority One's interview series on the ideas and opportunities here in the Western Bay of Plenty. We chat to the creators, pioneering businesses and community leaders shaping our region into a thriving hub of growth and innovation. Join us as we take the pulse on Tauranga.
Today I'm here with Michael Severide, the Chief Executive of Trimax. So Michael, Trimax has a reputation for engineering excellence and world-class innovation. And you guys are leading in the Bay, especially after your recent win at the Export Awards.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me a little bit about Trimax and what your winning formula is?
So the origin story goes back actually to the early 80s and probably that sort of early kiwi fruit boom. So being based here in the Bay of Plenty was part of that origin story. But actually the founder, so Bob, he actually had a company in Wellington making meat hooks, of all things, stainless steel meat hooks, and exporting those from New Zealand, but also exporting them into Australia. Had a customer who wanted a blade for a flail for a mower, and they made a tool, very expensive tool, and the customer's factory burnt down. So he had a tool, he had a blade, and no customer. That was when in Wellington, and he bought what remained of the company and sold out of the meat hook company and moved up to the Bay of Plenty to take what remained of that company. That was really the initial origin story, and that was very linked to the kiwi fruit sector at that time, which was in its real boom, and having flour mills for that sector. Next stage is that flour sort of was our pathway into a few other products, and then that led into a purchase of another company and pulling them together and forming what is now Trimax. Bob, founder, had lived in the US with General Motors, so exporting was always from day dot. So it was, I think, our second year in business, we were exporting to Australia. So Trimax is a manufacturer, but primarily design, manufacturer and sales company. So we focus on commercial mowing equipment, so for cutting grass. But we are very much focused around the public space area and sports and those areas like that. So, from a winning formula, I think for us it's around focus, and it's around really deeply understanding our customer, going out, living their day, spending time with them, and actually understanding those core challenges, and then bring that back through into our product, but also then how we deliver the product out to market. So it's not just the product design, it's actually our service, backup support, and also our manufacturing capability in that.
So Michael, can you tell me what's been the key to turning such a practical product into a global brand?
For us, I guess it's having really strong connections in market. So we've got a global team. So we've got Trimax team members ourselves, and manufacturing, distribution, sales, service across New Zealand, where we're based, Australia, the USA, UK, and also into Europe now. So it's really that closeness to the customer. We make big equipment, but actually really deeply understanding our customers, being close to them, looking after them in terms of the life cycle. So not just selling the equipment, but having the parts, having the service, having the capability on the ground, but also bringing that learning back into our design team. So for us, a big one is actually that, just really deeply understanding our market.
Trimax now exports to 30 countries. So what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned doing business offshore?
I think quite often when you go to export, the first thing people, when you go out there and you export, is thinking, well, how do we go sell something? I think you need to change it around as what do you need to go learn and understand. There's a lot of nuances in each market, whether it's how they purchase, what they value within the product, what they value even just in the service or how you interact. So it's around going into market, learning, looking, listening, and then think about how do you actually get that sales strategy right. So when we're into new markets for ourselves, our first step is actually to go learn.
So innovation is the key to growth. Can you tell me a little bit about how Trimax innovates?
Quite often you think about product as that's where innovation only lies, and that is obviously you've got to have a product that works, it's innovative, it offers value, but also for us we think about innovation across a few different areas. So whether it's our manufacturing, how do we innovate within that? How do we get close to our customers, whether it's our service? So we see innovation not just in the product, we see innovation across a lot of our other segments of the business, and how can we actually be either smarter or approach it in a different way to offer a competitive advantage.
Trimax mowers are used at some of the most renowned venues like the PGA courses, Windsor Castle. How important is it for Trimax to have those high-profile customers, those high-profile wins?
They're exciting for us to have them as customers, and they are really important. For us as a business, though, we sell across a lot of sectors, and quite often a lot of our end user customers, the general public. So whilst those ones are exciting and we really do value those customers, I'm just as excited when we're out and you see a football field in a small village in the UK, for example, using one of our machines and actually meaning that on a Saturday morning or something like that they're able to go play football on a nice surface.
Building a skilled workforce is a key focus area for Priority One. So what's been your experience attracting and retaining talent in Tauranga?
Tauranga is a great place for building a team. So I think if you go back maybe 20 years in Tauranga, there was a very different perception. But I think if you look at the companies that are now based here, we've got some really smart companies, and I think there's a building and quite a good base of ecosystem within skilled people within this area, and that's skilled across the range, whether it's in a fabrication, whether it's in marketing, design, those areas. So I think we've really got a sort of a great talent pool within the Bay of Plenty. For us, I'd say it's not a challenge, but I do think from an employer point of view, you need to create those opportunities. You've got to create the interesting type work, and also you've got to create the environment that people want to work within. So I think attracting and retention haven't been a challenge, but we focus quite heavily on making sure that we have interesting work, so it attracts the people that we want, innovative people that will drive, but also making sure you create an environment that people are able to enjoy and to get the best out of them.
How do you engage with the future workforce that are here in Tauranga?
It's something I'm really passionate about, is that you need to be able to experience what is a business, and it may sound simple in a way, but it's what are the facets. So we from outside in, we make mowers, and somebody would look at it and say, right, I'm not interested in making mowers. But actually, when you peel back the layers a bit and you get in, we have social media teams, we've got software engineers, we've got mechatronics engineers, we've got fabricators, we've got painters, we've got accounting, purchasing. So I think it's really important that I think business got an obligation to actually say, well, yes, we make mowers, but actually what is underneath it? What's the type jobs? What are the type activities they can actually get into to actually shape the pathway of learning? Because I do think there's a bit of a gap there around actually understanding what happens within businesses and actually how diverse they are. Which I guess as a manufacturing business, as at a core, I guess, is we if you go to schools, if you said what does somebody who's 15 want to do, they're probably not going to say make mowers, for example. But we need to actually shape that and actually say, well, actually within that, do you like buying things? Do you like negotiating? Do you like talking to people? Those type roles come into businesses like ours, and we're not unique in that way. There's many businesses like that, but I think there's giving the experience. So we bring high school students in. We start from inwards goods through our factory, through robots in our fabrication, just showing the expanse of the type roles to actually give them a bit of an idea. Whether they work it up with us or not is I personally less important. But actually give them the insight to say, right, okay, these are the type things I can do. These are the type work I have to do at school or potentially after school. And irrelevant if it's university or vocational or starting work, but just giving them a bit of a view around into what are the pathways. So, I'm very passionate about it, and we work with trying to pull in more schools. So at any level is how can we actually give them that experience. So if there are schools watching this, we're more than happy to engage because that's something we're really passionate about.
So, Michael, what role has being based in Tauranga played for Trimax, and what are the advantages of having your HQ here?
Tauranga, offers many advantages. I personally like living here. And our team, is a great environment. As Tauranga's growing, you've got a sizable enough town or city to live in, I guess. But also there are some just benefits of here. Well, us as an exporter, obviously having the Port of Tauranga here is a fantastic asset for us, for exporters. But again, with that drives, I think, the ecosystem of other exporters here, other knowledge transfers, great ecosystem there of learning from each other, the port, but also, I guess, having, Zespri and the kiwifruit industry around us, which is our foundation, definitely offers opportunities for us in terms of testing and development and things like that.
So looking ahead, what excites you the most about Trimax and what's on your radar that's coming up?
There's obviously new market opportunities for us. We are in some of our markets that we are looking at some new sectors there, so that gets exciting. And from product side, there's significant changes in accessibility of technology. We're integrating a lot more. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, would we have software engineers in our team, or maybe mechatronics? But now we've got software, we've got more connected units. So from a product side, it's been able to actually bring in technology that we thought was probably less attainable quite a while ago. We've got a real strong passion around building our product closer to market, so with our factories in US and UK. So it's expanding on what we're doing there, and also really just touching more, getting to more customers, and I guess getting them to experience our brand and how we work with them and how do we offer them value.
So, Michael, what's a key piece of advice that you would give a local business who's looking to expand offshore?
I think a key piece of advice for a local business to expand offshore probably goes back to that, is getting into market to learn. And I think it's just really important that a lot of traveling for export is not holidays. It's around scheduling it out, who you're going to see, preparing, doing the research, and actually just meeting people, talking to people, seeing how they operate.
Our goal is to share the stories of companies that are pushing boundaries and creating solutions and inspiring both our local businesses and our future talent. Michael, thank you for giving your generous time with us today, and we're very excited to watch the growth of Trimax.
Appreciate it, and thank you very much. And thanks for Priority One for all the work they do.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you've been inspired to learn more about Tauranga Moana's forward-thinking people and businesses. If sustainability, innovation and growth are important to you, visit our website and connect with us. We're bringing the prosperity and splendour of Tauranga Moana to the world.